Here in France, an Iraqi refugee thought to be a former senior member of the Islamic State group has been arrested in Paris and indicted on suspicion of war crimes. This over his alleged involvement in a massacre back in his country. Now here with the details is France 24's Wasim Nasser. Now, Wasim, walk us through what more do we know about this person and what is he suspected of doing?
Yes, actually, this person who goes by the name Ahmed H., we're not going to give his full name, he was born in 85 or 83. So there's two dates of birth that we are aware of. So he's in his mid-30s. He's not that old, and he arrived in France in 2016, maybe 2015, 2016, and then. So he got, in June 2017, he got his status of refugee, political refugee. Then the Iraqi government asked Interpol to have more information about him because they accuse him of being, as you said, a member of the Islamic State, and that he's been implicated in the massacre of Speicher, where more than 1,700 Iraqi military were killed by the jihadis. So an investigation was opened here in France back in September 2017. And then he was arrested in March 2018, and then because in France we have the law, you can judge someone if he's on French soil if he did a crime against humanity, even if it was made in another country. So this is the thing now, but the proof of him being really implicated isn't here, because he says that no, he didn't have anything to do with the Speicher, with the massacre in Speicher. I got to see his photo, which I compared to the footage issued at the time, issued at the time of the massacre, and we cannot see him. We cannot identify him in a formal way on this footage, and this is why the justice also is trying to identify him on the footage of the massacre. And on the other hand, the only person in Iraq that witnessed against him was executed back in 2015. So executed by the Iraqi authorities.
A question, you mentioned during this process that indeed his political refugee status, he was granted that in the first. That also has to have authorities worried here just about the process in itself, that this wasn't flagged up before. Is there any concern about that?
Because he didn't... listen, it's not the first time that they give this status and then they take it back. It happened at least 10 times since the beginning of the years with other refugees from Iraq or from Syria. And because also his story holds. He says that, so he was born in Samarra, he grew up in Samarra, it's a town in Iraq. He says that he went to Tikrit in 2006, he was in his 20s, and then he says that in 2006 his father and his brother were killed by the jihadis. And he even says that in 2007, he was working for the American Army, the U.S. Army in Iraq. Then he says that in 2011, he worked for Iraqi authorities as not as a spy, but as an informant. Then he says that in 2012, yes, he was arrested for terror charges by the Iraqi authorities, but he says that he was trying to revive a Ba'ath cell. You know, the Ba'ath, the party of the late Iraqi President Saddam Hussein. So he says that he was not a jihadi, he was a Ba'athist. And then he was in jail from 2012 till 2014 when the Islamic State took Tikrit. So the Iraqi authorities say that the jihadis freed him, and he worked with them since then. But he says that when the jihadis came into town, the guards of the prison left the prison. So he left with other prisoners, which could hold two. And then he says he went to Kurdistan, and the Kurdish authorities wanted him to go back to infiltrate the Islamic State in Syria, which he didn't do. And then he left for Europe, arriving here.
Okay, so as of now, once again, he says he did no wrongdoing.
Yes,
French authorities
so there's
trying
two
to see
stories,
it
and today the challenge is to prove one of those two stories.
All right, excellent. Wasim, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.